Hello, and we are excited to welcome you to the Robert H. Jackson Center today. My name's Kristen McMahon, and I have the great privilege of serving as the president of the Jackson Center, and we are honored to be a part of this Chautauqua County legislative session. My understanding is this is the first time the legislature has met outside of Mayville. This year, the center celebrates its 25th anniversary. So before we begin, we wanted to give you a little bit of an overview of what we've done during our 25 years. At the Jackson Center, our mission is to be a forum for education and discussion of law and justice issues, and all, of course, while being guided by the life and principles of Robert H. Jackson. Jackson was a Chautauqua County boy. He practiced law here in Jamestown for 20 years. He was a Supreme Court justice during the presidencies of Roosevelt, Truman, and Eisenhower. And for this year, during the 80th anniversary, he was also the chief prosecutor for the International Military Tribunal at Nuremberg following World War II. We are grateful that you've allowed us this honor of being such a part of an integral aspect of the legislative system here in Chautauqua County. Thank you for being with us.
Rehnquist says although Jackson's gone, his legacy of the American ideal of fairness and justice is something Chautauqua County should be proud of.
Surely Jamestown and Chautauqua County can be proud of the career of their native son on both the national and the international scene.
I'm thrilled to see this thing physically here, and with the generous contributions of your donors who are here today. This is a great thing to do. You've already heard what I had to say some years back about Justice Jackson, but his legacy is enormous, and it will never cease to be important. And I will never cease to marvel that someone from this community, a graduate of the elementary school and the public high school, without further education, could go on to be one of the great justices of our Supreme Court.
And you toured the Robert Jackson Center yesterday.
Yes, I did. I thought it was a remarkable tribute to the justice. He would have been proud to see what has been done with his center.
We are here to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the dedication of the Jackson Center. We do so on an especially significant date. 59 years ago today, the Supreme Court handed down its decision in Brown versus Board of Education, which declared that segregating public school students by race violates the 14th Amendment's guarantee of equal protection. Justice Jackson was, of course, a member of the court that handed down that momentous decision and began the process of undoing the court's grave error in the 1896 case of Plessy versus Furman.
One of the deepest things I think you can find is the substance that too easily gets glossed in the label of family values. But the substance of it, real engagement on serious matters, close personal relationship, abiding human values are things that were Robert Jackson.
Unselfish service, including his willingness to be called away from service on the court, controversially so, to serve with renown as chief prosecutor in Nuremberg, and to develop in very short order and to present persuasively a case of, shall I say, universal significance. And it simply doesn't do justice to his performance to say it was of historic interest.
Standing here in a center named for one of the giants of American legal jurisprudence, who made such contributions not only to our own country but to the world. And I was telling Greg and Raleigh that in the last several years, as we have debated what are the standards America should stand for, How do we use the rule of law, which sets us apart from other countries, that certainly distinguishes us from our enemies and our foes around the world? Time and time again, we have gone back to the writings and the example of Justice Jackson. Right out of Jamestown has come someone whose voice still speaks with clarity and conviction through the ages.
I am very, very surprised, flattered, and proud to be here and to have discovered over these recent years this wonderful agency.
Donahue quoted Justice Jackson, and we have to hang on to something, and he called it a fixed star. That's it. You got to hang on to something. A fixed star in our constitutional constellation, and I thought, I'm gonna memorize it like Phil did because it's so profound.
The Jackson Center continues to impact the local Chautauqua County community with events that are free to the public, which foster the growth of Jackson's goals and principles on both the local and international scale. This includes hosting multiple naturalization ceremonies a year, where new immigrants from around the world take their final step towards becoming American citizens, taking the oath right here in our theater. The Jackson Center hosts many of the parties from cases that Jackson presided over, as well as cases that were nationally relevant at the time. The Brown sisters from the Brown versus Board of Education case visited and hosted at Jackson Center for a roundtable discussion open to the community with various former clerks from the court. In the well-known case, Jackson was a part of the 9-0 ruling which desegregated American schools. Fred Korematsu visited the center after his discussion at the Chautauqua Institution. Korematsu was wrongfully interned during World War II, and his conviction was upheld in the Supreme Court. Jackson was one of only 3 powerful dissents.
Learn about Robert Jackson. Do you have any reaction, any reflection on him?
Robert Jackson is another person that I feel that is like the attorneys I worked with.
Oh, so you think of him as part of your team, right, don't you?
Right.
He and the 2 other dissenters were sort of with Mr. Bessig. They were your first team.
Paul Campion and Randall Johnson visited and were interviewed by Greg Peterson when their case for equal marriage rights was placed before the court in 2015. They spread the news of their story and how the legal system in America was working to serve the needs of all its citizens. The Jackson Center maintains a yearly tradition hosting the International Humanitarian Law Dialogues, where prosecutors, judges, and members of the international law community meet to discuss the issues facing international law. This conference allows the attendees to spread the message of justice and reaffirm the idea that the international community is capable of bringing those spreading violence to justice. The Jackson Center maintains a strong influence in Western New York with the dedication of the federal courthouse to Jackson. The courthouse where Jackson argued in his days as a country lawyer now carries his name in remembrance. Through partnership with both the City of Nuremberg Documentation Center and the U.S. Supreme Court, the center maintains a high legal profile both internationally and domestically. The Jackson Center is proud to regularly host events in conjunction with the Supreme Court Historical Society. The Jackson Center aims to maintain relationships with school districts across Chautauqua County. The center provides materials and coursework for students to learn more about the history of Robert H. Jackson and hosts hundreds of students each year. The Jackson Center has yearly Constitution Day programming where authors and experts in their fields are hosted by the center to discuss themes such as civic engagement and historical interaction with the Constitution. This program keeps the ideas of the founders present in modern Chautauqua County. The Jackson Center collaborates with Living Voices, a national theatrical group that portrays historical events through performance. This offers historical material through a unique perspective for the local community. The center hosts a society dinner every year for members of the board and principal donors. This event keeps the Jackson Center family a close-knit group capable of achieving change across the local community. The event also preserves the lasting legacy of Robert Jackson.